Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Voler Tuesday Night Race Series. I'm here with Dave Toll, Nathan Guerra, host, obviously, and we are going to be hammering out the Epic KOM. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Dave, you know, Voler has been doing a really awesome job with these. And for those of you not know what is going on, every Tuesday night, they put together a meetup. It's now 100 people that can actually join, up to 100 people for meetups, as Zwift just recently had an update. And they do these little mini games out on Zwift. And they kindly asked us to jump in, do some broadcasts to highlight everything that they're doing. This has been put together by Vivid Cycling Club and Madwale Cycling Club. They've been doing some Zwift head-to-head stuff for quite a while now. And it's kind of come to the pinnacle of these Tuesday night events, Dave. Dave, mute, you're on mute, Dave. I think we got you on mute.
Sorry there. Favorite
no
week,
worries.
Nathan. There's no doubt about it. And guess what? We've got the Australian National Road Champion from just a couple of years ago. Shannon Massey is joining us. They call her Dash, and she's a phenomenal talent. Some results all over the globe. She's going to be riding on the Tibco team, so Tibco's splitting up for us, kind of like an inter-squad scrimmage going on. So Janelle Crooks is going to be joining her on the Tibco team, and then Silicon Valley Bank, the other squad, will have Lauren Stevens, who, man, has it been a blast having the legend Lauren Stevens out here with us every week, and Charlotte Lucas. So that's how they've divided up that Tibco SVB team. Rachel Hederman is along for the ride today, the Olympian from the Athens Games. She's a Brit, and this is one of the most international, longest-running teams. They are a big part of the Voler family. Nathan, let's get it on. We're going to have a blast tonight. New format. Every week is a new format, it seems like. It's two-woman or two-person teams tonight.
Yeah, and we can jump right on in with the action here as they head on over to Epic KOM. It is going to be a neutral lead out, which is good. It's going to be all about the leaderboard to the top. We'll be watching those times as they get up and over the top of the climb. They're using the leaderboards, as you can see here on the left-hand side with Zwift. You can always check what your different best times are for the sections you do for the last hour. So we will be using the Epic KOM for this meetup. It'll have no data until they get to the top of the climb, but obviously once they do hit that, we'll start seeing what the times are. If you do want to jump into the broadcast and bring any of your comments or questions, go ahead and do so. We'll bring them right on in. We do see one kind Fire Leather jumping in here was the YouTube name, giving us a little bit of an emoji coming on through, as well as Abject over on Twitch as well. We're live on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter and Mixer, so we'll be able to bring in all your comments in all those places.
Well, Nathan, let me highlight some more riders to watch as we still have a Grupo Compacto situation as I see Larissa Connors is back, the Leadville Trail 100 winner, absolute legend. Great to have Larissa back with us. She's been relatively new to Zwift, and with the COVID situation, she's a brainiac, and a full-time teacher has been able to get out on Zwift. And then a rider you'd be really familiar with, Payson Mcelveen, is out riding. He is one of our U.S. national team, I'd say pride and joy, one of the best mountain bike racers on the planet today out there. Payson, I believe, would be up in Durango, Colorado, is his home. Not necessarily sure he's there today, but I think so. So Payson, thanks a lot for joining us as well. That's some star power, Nathan. Have you ever raced with Payson in real life?
I think I saw him off the front a couple of times. Actually, I have, yes. Actually, when Payson was up and coming and not off the front quite as much and racing the Pro XCTs, jumping up into Wisconsin, and he, in the beginnings of his career, definitely raced against him. But as he started making his way toward the front end of the pack a lot more and obviously winning national championships, I hadn't raced against him quite as much during that time. But great to see him out there. And he's been doing some pretty cool stuff with Orange Seal Cycling recently.
He really has. I was going to say, you should be on his podcast. He has one of the best podcasts going out there right now. He's not only a tremendous athlete, he's got, I was talking about Larissa Connors being extremely smart, but Payson has a lot of savvy and smarts as well. And that kind of speaks to how proud I am of our Voler family. Thank you, Brian Trapp, for bringing everyone together. So, Nathan, you got Mr. McElveen queued up right there. I should also mention, while we're giving a little back, Jen Malik is out here, a really strong. I know her from the cyclocross world, and you also know her from the gravel world. I guess everybody you know from the gravel world. But Larissa Connors also recently gave birth to her first child, Nathan, getting back out on the bike very, very quickly. It speaks to what a fierce, fierce woman she is. It's amazing how there's definitely a Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde element to our friend Larissa. Janelle Crooks up there. I was talking about Janelle riding with Shannon Massey. I think it's Shannon Massey, 25 years old, went on an absolute tear in 2018. They do their national championships, Nathan, in January. They start out the year down under, and she lit the year and on fire and has never really let up. One of the biggest talents in international cycling, Lawrence Stevens up there as well. And I think that, Pedersen, and I think Nikki Peterson, the downhill star, enduro star, is out with us. Man, what a group we've got today, Nathan.
Yeah, they've really put together quite the peloton here through the Voler family. It's really cool to see jumping in. And we're going to get some pretty hot head-to-heads here, I think, going on up over the top. I mean, all these check marks, you don't get those for no reasons, that's for sure, when it comes to jumping into Zwift. And so we do see Payson actually starting to head his way toward the front. They're going to come out of Ocean Boulevard here into the Epic KOM ascent here in just a moment. They're probably about a K away from the actual start. On the right-hand side of the course, you will see a little blue banner marking the start. There'll be a red mark across the bottom of the screen as well on the road, and that will be the official start of their climb. On their screen, they will actually see at the top of the in this little area where it says 19.1 at the top of the screen, 2.9 miles. Currently, they will actually see their time start. We will not see that because you're currently viewing my meetup, and so my mileage will not go down. We'll see the total time throughout the meetup will be up on the upper right hand side, but what we'll be watching for again is going to be the leaderboards. You already see some of the riders here making the way to the front. Now, the thing is that because it's about the leaderboard though, Dave, the reality is that they can kind of start whenever they want. It's not a race to the top. It's not scratch race across the line. It's best time across the line. So they can kind of take it easy here, right, and they can go all in to the top.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well just load it for bear, right? Pack as much ammo as you can in and then let it rip. And we're going to very quickly, again, Nathan, strategy and tactics are different things here, but that's a pretty straight ahead strategy if you're a familiar racer. And here we go.
Yeah, and we do see this section of the course here. You can always, I do my 2x20s, 3x20s on this specific mountain. A lot of times it's somewhere between that 17 to 22 minute range at the elite level. And so Harris here now make his way to the front there, 8.6. It's always these orange numbers, but you can get so far ahead of yourself because it kicks into that 9%. These are some of the sharpest gradients right up front. It levels off. You hit the village, goes into 7, and then up into almost a 10% as you head past the castle. After the castle, though, you have a couple of more kicks, but really it's this undulation between 7 to 3 and back up to 7, 8 with little kicks into that 10% gradient. But this right here, it can be deceiving. You can think, you know, for those first 2 to 3 minutes, I can hold this, and you think you're unstoppable. You get to that 10-minute mark at this kind of an effort. Next thing you know, you went way overboard if you're into your VO2. So we'll see who's actually pacing themselves and who's going to be off the back a little ways into this climb.
Well, we saw the mighty, mighty Calvin Harris hit hard at the bottom. The rider I'm watching here is Lawrence Stevens. Watch that. So Lolly Stevens here, she's been holding on over 6 watts per kilo. Superstar. No question. And she's really coming good again. It's such a shame that in so many ways that we're not racing in real life, but I'm glad we have this opportunity because when we do release the hounds for this season, Stevens is going to come out and will be tearing some legs off. Look at this effort from Lawrence Stevens right now. Again, hanging on over. You make a really good point, Nathan. It's one thing to throw some big numbers up on the board there. Sustaining is another thing. Lawrence Stevens with a tremendous amount of experience. She's represented the United States at the World Championships, I believe, 5 times in her career. And that's a very elite group to be in, a U.S. national team member at the Worlds. So here we go. Taking a look at some other riders. Calvin Harris still holding on. Sam Waterford, the Irish rider up there.
Yeah, we do see Wyland here, 4.7 watts per kilogram. Now backing off a little bit, 3% gradient here over the bridge. So it backs off. He's got a 7-second gap over the Voler factory here, but it looks like some of these riders are kind of playing games a little bit. Interesting to see that it's not all in from the get-go from some of these, some of these top tier riders here holding back, it seems like. Now Lucas here, though, we can see, and Connor's there as well. 4.9, 4.4, definitely in that world, top world rank, though, for the women's side of FTPs here. Crooks as well from Tibco here, 4.9. No heart rate on, so we're not going to know whether or not it's over too far over threshold, but Lolly here really starting to walk away with it amongst the women.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're in this race right now and you're wondering what's going on, don't feel bad. These are some of the best athletes in the world, I mean, that we're looking at. This is Lauren Stevens, again, holding on here. Just a super effort. Stevens is a monster. If you meet her off the bike, we've talked over the last couple of weeks, she's been one of the standout athletes that we've been able to enjoy having racing with us. We've talked about her win at Winston-Salem. That's one of the last UCI races, one-day UCI races that remains in North America. And some people will tell you that's the hardest one-day race to win. And Lauren Stevens won that quite handily just a couple of years ago. So you're watching poetry in motion up there. But how about Wyland out here? The Sakari rider, very impressive.
Yeah,
all of our friends, again. Oh, I'm sorry, Nathan, go ahead.
Great point coming on in here from Frank the Tank over on Twitch, actually letting us know, very key strategy here across this bridge, and maybe the reason why we're not seeing a lot of the watts per kilogram coming through this section, because at a 3% gradient, you do get a lot of advantage in that draft, and they could be working together a little bit, and we'll see the real launches from this pack come in just a moment as they hit the village section of the climb. And there it is, exactly as we're thinking. We get in that 7%.
Frank was
starts to break
on.
up a little bit. Exactly.
Yeah, good call, Frank. Appreciate that. It's one thing to tweet in. It's another thing to tweet in exactly the right information at exactly the right time. And now we move into a new phase here, Nathan. Talk about what they've got coming up for the next little bit.
Yeah, we're just passing that 100 meters into the climb at this point, and they will be taking on essentially a very sharp uphill grind after this 1, 2, 3% gradient. They're going to go into a 5, 6 or so as they hit the village, and past the village, that's when it just turns into this wall in front of you that hits that 7, 8%. I think it even bumps into 9 toward the end of it as they hit the castle. Once it hits the castle, though, you go through the castle section of the climb, and as you pass that underpass, it goes down to about 1-2% at that point, and then they bump right back up into the snow, where the snowfalls are at. You got a little bit of that cover a little bit, but it gets a little darker up there, and that's definitely the darker times of the mind, actually, because at that point you're about 10 to 12 minutes in, and that's kind of where it's like, what do you got left? Do I have some 10 to 20 watts left to push it? Because you actually go into the VO2 max type heart rate at that point a lot of times if you're giving a full-on 20 to 25 minute effort. So really, the suffering isn't completely all in at this point unless somebody's over tempo, over what they can actually hold for the climb. At this point, this is when they start thinking about, do I got a little extra to give right here? And looking toward that 10-minute point is really when you start saying, did I save enough and can I bump it up? So
what you're saying is if you think it's bad now, it gets worse.
It gets a lot worse. It gets a lot worse in just a moment. Now it's going to back off 2 to 3%, but then we're going to get this left-hand turn in just a moment. It feels like a wall. It's actually that section where it's like, I am not even halfway. Are you kidding me? And the effort you put down for that last 5 to 7 minutes is really starts to sink in.
Well, big thank you to both Vivid and Mia Dwelle. They created this format for us that we've been enjoying so much on Tuesday nights. So a big thanks there. And now we get to go into the throwdown mode. We're going to see who really wants it. Nathan, as you're talking about, it gets real here for the finale. It separates the wheat from the chaff, as they say. And you can hear the whip cracking now. Multiple riders are going to go just lock it down in the pain cave here at this point, watching Christensen right now. Voler factory team rider, this team based out of central Northern California. Boy, what a great job they've been doing. They've already been out racing internationally. They went down to Central America earlier this year, and then obviously we're back here on Tuesday nights until we can let them get back out and doing what they love. But I would look forward to. Let's hope we're racing by late July. We can get the team back together in San Rafael for the San Rafael Twilight Criterium there. But looking at this 3-rider group, again, how about Stevens, Nate? Look at these numbers, Nathan. I mean, she's still putting out. I mean, this woman is a human wattage cottage. There is no doubt about it when you talk about Lolly Stevens here. World-class rider on a
6 watts per
world-class
kilogram.
climb.
You know, she does look like she's playing it smart too. There is a little bit, it's not a lot of benefit, but you do get a little bit of benefit in the wheels on the climbs. And Stevens here, 6.9, now 6.8. Look at her, almost impatient, saying, really, boys? Can you not climb harder than this? And now bumping it back to 3.3. Working well together here, maybe trying to keep Moan here from Sakari off the wheel. TM there, Halterman as well. It looks like McElveen biding his time. I have a feeling that Payson here is maybe just following wheels and waiting for the second half to maybe give it a serious kick. 410 watts though, 374, 173 beats per minute now, as a few of the Waterford boys now come on by, and that's going to be the White brothers, I believe, back out for another round.
Oh, right on. The White brothers, the twins out of Wisconsin. Nathan, this is the perfect sized group, the Payson Mcelveen group that we're looking at now, the strongman out of Durango, Colorado, riding like a boss here. So, yeah, that is ideal. What we're looking at right now is hopefully you can use these riders to help as a stepping stone to a final huge effort. Again, remembering that Team Tibco, or actually I should say Tibco tonight has split up into 2 teams. The Tibco squad will be Shannon Massey, the former Australian national road champion. What a star that 25-year-old is. And Janelle Crooks, so 2 riders coming from down under. And then you've got on the SVB team, one of our leaders, Lauren Stevens, and she's been the rider who's just been driving that group. What a wicked conductor she is, as Stevens has been punching tickets all over the mountain tonight, going back and picking up Silicon Valley Bank rider tonight, Lolly Stevens, putting on a clinic here, Nathan. What a ride from Lauren.
Yeah, and we are seeing Weiland here starting to drive the pace. This is the section we talked about. A little bit of drafting is going to matter right here. She's going to need to hold on to the wheel, and she does just that. She jumps up to 6.6 watts per kilogram, looking for Weiland's wheel. Weiland trying to break it here at 7 watts per kilogram. You can see it gets into a 0% here, and the speed is going to matter right here. Jumping up into a little bit of 20 miles per hour there for just a moment, and then holding. It looks like onto the wheel here, up into 24 even, as you can see. But the Voler factory team here with Christensen trying to shut down the gap that's been opened up. Those 2 seconds can feel almost impossible. But I think as they hit this little kick, you're probably going to see a little surge from Christensen here to grab back onto the wheels and make it a 3-man group again at the front. TM, Moen, Halterman, all in the chase. 3 riders up now. They can close something down here pretty quickly if they give a little extra on this bump. But you know, you can really sacrifice a lot, though, with those little kicks. And you got to really measure your effort. If you're already in the hurt locker and you give just a little bit too much, you can find that your watts per kilogram, it'll drop by a full watt per kilogram or more if you give a little bit too much while you're at that threshold. So they got to really watch it. It's this real fine line, threading the needle of what can your body handle all the way through, because once you blow, you go nuclear off the back.
Yeah, there's no coming back. That's for sure. We're watching Chase 1 right now. It is the format tonight. 2 riders on this KOM, QOM climb. This group chasing hard, Nathan, but I don't know that they're going to close it down on that front group of 3, as Stevens has been phenomenal. She's been with Weiland working hard. And the other rider that just joined now up in that front group is Christensen. And those 3, again, we're going to flash back up there, picking up, it's like a locomotive making its way up the mountain right now.
Mo and then TM here from VCC, Sakari as well in there. Sakari A. So this is actually a 2-man team, probably working together to try and get the best time they can possibly get up and over the top now, as they look to hold on to each other's wheel. It looks like Pitcher here now, Lone Wolf now taking to the top. It's going to be another Voler factory, and that's going to be Freed. Payson Mcelveen here, just a little bit off pace. It looks like trying to come across with the Waterford boy on his wheel, and then CA from Sakari B. Then it's going to be Cordays there, also from Orange Seal. Peterson there coming out of Denmark now, looking to jump back on to that, but falling off the paces. I believe it's going to be Payson and the Waterford rider there, as well as Cordays, that's really starting to push the pace to try and break things up in this pack. But now coming backwards, though, so interesting to see. 2 seconds up is going to be this group here holding on to the pace ahead. 20 seconds is going to be hard to climb. They've only got about another maybe 10 minutes of racing to the top here of this KOM. Again, KOM challenge, 2 riders per team. The 2 riders per team, their times together are going to be added up, and it's best time wins in the two-person teams, excuse me. And so, it's going to matter too that they're working together out here, as you can see from the Sakari B. Sakari B also has a rider back though with CA. The reality is though, best time to the top. If your wheel's not going to help, just get the best time you possibly can for the team.
Yeah, I would agree when you look at tactic there. It's like, well, if you stay back and help your teammate, you're going to be giving up way more time than you'd be able to gain by just letting them ride at their own pace, Nathan. It's always interesting how when you look at these new formats, you wonder what is the best technique. If you had two riders that were unbelievably well matched, that might be the best tactic to continue to work together. But that would take very, very unique scenarios. We go back and watch Payson here. It's such an honor to have Payson joining us tonight. A SRAM athlete. I love what they do. We talk a lot about their support of World Bicycle Relief. And Payson has a huge heart as well as huge lungs. Nathan, he's really using it all to his advantage right now. Here we go. Big surge happening from Payson as he digs in. This should be his wheelhouse now. When it gets tough, that's where this man thrives.
Yeah, as he gets into a 2-second gap now, closes it right down to the two riders that were ahead. We'll see if it comes flying right by. It looks like it was a shutdown, though. Just looking to grab onto some wheels. Now backing off the 3.2 watts per kilogram. Look at how high his heart rate raised there for 5 beats.
Yeah, take a little draft while you can get it.
Yeah, and he'll grab that because now we get into the business end of this climb. This underpass here, 7% plus all the way through it. You're going to start seeing some red now. Now I'm down to 6 for a second here, but it really kicks up toward the end, and then it's going to be a little bit of a downhill, a couple of undulations, and then the final kick to the top. So there's not a lot of time left to make up those seconds that have been gained at the front here. So now you do see the bike selection, though, which is interesting here from Payson, track athlete, and he has jumped on with the Zip wheels here. This is one of the lighter setups. It's not the Mellensteins. It's not the Mellensteins on the Trek Manda, but this is most definitely one of these lightest setups that you can get on. So definitely knows his Zwifting with the setup that he has chosen on the day.
Sam Waterford making his way back up. But yeah, you get the feeling, Nathan, as we moved into this, the COVID era of Zwifting, that the riders that had experience already and earned their drops, you can really see in their equipment, can't you? Some of the newer riders are just hoping to get a cool pair of socks. Right now, they're not even close to talking about getting some Zip 808s or 858s. So taking a look here at almost 23 minutes of racing in. They completed 7.2 miles. For everybody joining us on Facebook, this is Zwift Community Live. Dave Toll, Nathan Guerin. Nathan, we got ourselves another Donnybrook going on out here right now. Taking a look, this big group here is what I would call Chase 1.
Yeah, and we have, here we go with
There's your leaders.
TM, Moen, Sakari. Now, there actually is a group off the front here with Lolly Stevens, though. 3 here. So that would be Chase 2 and Chase 1 right behind them. Look behind them in the distance, though. They're within striking distance, and this was a real kick right here. This one hurts. You get in. Now, this is one that is so short, though, you can essentially just sprint over these next two. If you have anything left, sprinting over the top of these because of the little breaks after these is definitely worth it, but it's a hard ask if you're already at the limit here. And you can see a couple of, look at the attack here from Lone Wolf. 9 watts per kilogram trying to get back onto Peterson's wheel. Looks like Peterson gapped him there for a minute. As you see those orange numbers on the right-hand side, you have an idea of what is happening with the wattages that are being put out. Peterson continues to get dropped off Lone Wolf's wheel, it looks like, and trying to gang back on. Now the shutdown, though, for Mo and Sakari here. These boys were patient, it looks like, as they are only 2 seconds back, and they've kept it within striking distance. I have a feeling that these guys, if you do this kind of a climb correctly, it's that VO2 at the end. It's that extra 10 to even up to 10% that you could probably give. If you're sitting at 350 watts for 2 or 3 minutes, if that's under threshold, you can then push up into the 400s, even to 500 watts for that 2 to 3 minutes at the end if you reserved it. But if you gave too much, even if you gave 5% over or 2% over that of threshold for the entirety of this climb to this point, you actually will end up paying more then you would, because in time, then what you would gain in that last 2 to 3 minutes, if you push it that much, if you have that much more to give, if that makes sense, that you can, because what you can throw down in that last 2 to 3 minutes is so much more. If you reserve just a little bit under that threading the needle that you can do, it's such a TT type effort. It's such a really knowing your body, knowing what it can handle, and listening to it well to get as much out of it as you possibly can. And now we're going to find out who has got that craft down to a science.
Wow. Amazing to see this merging of these two groups happening right here, Nathan, is some changes over the last couple of minutes. It looks like we've got 5, maybe 6 riders in what I'll call the Stevens group. Is Lauren Stevens punching above her weight out here tonight? But there you got a good, I love this sector of the course. This reminds me of the mountain passes in the Rocky Mountains as you're making way over from Denver over to Leadville, actually. It's just dramatic, stark, and only for the strong. That's for sure. Christensen having one heck of a ride. Halterman, very impressive. Weiland up there. Moan, Stevens. These are the riders who are making their mark here today. Our Voler factory team rider, Christensen, super impressive out here. Okay, Nathan. As we look at this, all of these riders are going to have the best time for their team, but that's not going to be the whole story, is it?
No, not
going
going
to
to be the whole
teammate
story
that
at
they're
all.
waiting for. Yep.
Exactly. We're going to watch this meetup data as it comes on through and get an idea of who is riding for what team and how. And we do see a couple of jerseys making the way to the front there in the green. So I believe that's going to be Sakari now taking over with Moen. That's the two Sakari A's. So they are really set up well to take this down, actually, with Halterman and Moen as they shut things down. This was the chase group, actually. Those who were up front, Weiland as well as Christensen and Stevens, they were the ones that gave the extra wattage early. They were the ones that got a break, but they've been caught by what I think was a little bit more of a steady effort here. Now, Halterman, with that 6 watts per kilogram, I think they're just going to have a little more throttle, that little extra nitrous to put in the tank here and put the pedal down to the metal here in just a moment.
Nathan, I find it fascinating. You never really know, do you, when you talk about that, how much of a price you pay for that early effort, whether you found your rhythm or not, whether riders are outside of their comfort zone. I mean, there's no doubt.
Power up.
Here we go. Look at this. Well used as well. Beautiful there, Nathan, because you can see, and this surge to get the wheel coming from Moen. So Christensen throws his cards into the middle of or his chips in the middle of the table. Moen able to get that wheel, or almost able to get that wheel. Oh, they are full gas right now, Nathan. This is going next level out here. Look at
all
the finale.
in. Look at this. And Christensen, knowing his gaming out on Zwift, he loads up a power up before he hits the meetup and grabs the win across the line as far as first win across the line. We'll have to see if he's the fastest. And with the 19:25.3, 19:25.5, Moen actually with the faster time. It looks like here, Christensen with a point.
Right, remembering exactly.
Tenths of a second.
Sorry to jump on you, Nathan. I just remembering they didn't all have the same start time, did they? Because you would have triggered that as you went across the back end of the bridge there. So, or actually, it wasn't even the bridge, just the start line there. So, good catch. That's going to tell a lot about what's happening there. All of those times are going to be very similar. However, as we've got other riders, each one of those riders has a teammate that they're going to be anxiously watching for here at the finish line. Is this 2-rider event? What a great format we have tonight. Thanks again to our friends at Vivid and Mia Dwelle. They're just 2 of the awesome Voler teams. Always appreciate you, Brian Trapp, for helping us put this together each Tuesday night.
These boys are going, and these ladies and these guys are flying at this point. I mean, these times are amazing. 19 minutes here. We're talking serious efforts here. Payson now coming through 5.5 watts per kilogram, 182 beats per minute right now as he's looking for about a 21-minute effort, I believe here. Sakari trying to get back on the wheel. Not going to happen now. Lucas from SVB, they're 7.0 watts per kilogram, dropping Lawrence as well as VCC1 with E. Lawrence here just a little ways behind, trying to jump back onto the SVB rider's wheel, but not going to be happening as she crosses the line as well at 20:56. These are some, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Epic KOM, haven't done it before, I'm seeing a little bit of chat coming on through here, and this is, as far as these times go, you're looking in order to hold a 19-minute to 20 and a half, depending on the rider, the bike setup, etc. You're looking at 5.0, around that 5.0 watt per kilogram, 20-minute effort.
Do you know what the fastest time ever is on the Epic KOM
In a
offhand?
race situation, it's around 17 minutes or so, and we're
And that's
talking
going to be a
world.
rider
That's World Tour. That's World Tour riders who showed up and just smashed
with
it.
other World Tour riders, right? So
With
it's not
other
just
World Tour
you,
riders. No,
right?
it's not just a solo. It was actually a part of some of the KISS Super League, I believe, races that we had last year, and they were just absolutely smashing it. And we were seeing 6.0 plus to the top for amazing. Larissa Connor's now coming across. Solid effort for her.
Nice.
21:53. Malik, you had mentioned as well. Crooks
Yeah, Jen
right
Malik.
behind.
Yep.
As you can see, Harris there, Calvin here, who faded early on, trying to jump back up over the top. It looks like he's going to come to the top of Crooks here from Tibco. So solid times here. We'll go see if we can get some results here in just a little bit. But super fun. Now, again, if you're just tuning in, wondering what is going on here, this doesn't look at all like our usual events. This is us playing mini games essentially in the game of Zwift. It's pretty awesome. What you can do with meetups is you get together and have these timed events by using the leaderboards, and these clubs have figured out a way to produce these little mini games, and they've had signups and results sheets and all this stuff within their clubs, which is a ton of fun. It's kind of a way that we're pushing the platform out on Zwift. And if you didn't know this, events actually didn't always exist in Zwift. The whole sign up and jump into the piers and get let off. We would, I've said this many times the last couple of weeks because we've had a lot of new people come into the world of Zwift, but events came from the community looking for it and by creating their own in the game. And so a lot of times what we do see is situations like this where clubs do something really cool. It produces this desire to have something like that. Next thing you know, you see it in the game with the developers getting behind it here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot more love, as we have seen, obviously, with meetups getting some more love just recently, and so that was needed because of efforts like this put together by clubs out on Zwift with meetups. Pushing the platform is what it's really all about with these to create awesome experiences. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of mini games in the future because of things like this.
I love it, the creativity. Big thanks again to Voler. California, Nathan, has the 5th largest economy in the world, and a lot of that has to do with Voler, to tell you the truth. They're massive as they make the best cycling clothing out there. Thanks so much to all of our Voler-sponsored athletes. Payson, it was great having you. Janelle Crooks. Oh, actually, I should thank all of the Tibco SVB riders. Lauren Stevens putting on quite a show tonight. Charlotte Lucas, I mentioned. Janelle, and the Australian champion, Shannon Massey, out here. And, of course, Rachel Hederman joining us, the team director and former pro herself out of Asheville, North Carolina. So thank you, ladies. Taking a look at Mia Dwelle, rider. Nathan, you talk about that creativity. That's really, it all started with Vivid and Mia Dwelle, to the Voler clubs that have been doing this for quite a while. We're taking a look at the champ is in the house, coming through our Education First banner here. I should say Finish Trust. Good job out there. Thanks for joining us, Shannon. Real honor to have the Australian with us tonight.
I didn't actually recognize. How did that get there? That's what I want to know. So, like,
it's new,
that banner is new. Yeah, that's a new banner.
I've never seen it before.
So
I thought that's pretty cool. Someone at EF, obviously that's the World Tour team. Someone at EF must have said, "Hey, let's get some representation out there on the World of Watopia." So,
what was interesting was at the start of our ride, I was put into a Pens. And then it asked me to join the meetup again, and I was then put on the side of the road where you usually go. And I wonder if somehow that EF banner, I wonder if that EF banner got tacked on to the back to my meetup somehow, as perhaps that's just kind of sneaked its way in there. Because I don't know of any EF events that have been going on recently. So there's good to see Brian out there hammering away though in the meetup as he just comes up to the top here, and that is going to be a time of 25:22.
Good job. Brian is the glue that keeps this whole thing together. Brian Trapp out of San Luis Obispo, California, with part of the Voler family. He's the dad in the Voler family.
Great little comments coming on through here, Dave. Great comments coming through. We actually have Carissa Min, who is one of the most longtime Zwift community hard workers, server, she's been an admin in a lot of the spots and longtime admin and moderator in the chats. Good to see Carissa hanging out. She says, "Is this commentary on a meetup race?" Yes, Carissa, just jumping in, says this is awesome. And looks like I missed out of most of it and try to rewatch. Thanks a lot, Krista. Thanks for jumping in. And yeah, so Krista, it's essentially old school. Think 5 years back when we started meeting at the banners and just pushing the go button. And we're having a little bit of mini games though. Is what's going on here around what some of the clubs have been doing with meetups. And Medwele and Vivid Cycling, in partnership with Voler, have done an amazing job out here. As we have a little bit of push to the front there, as we can see going past Wasatch there. But putting together these meetups with registration and everything with these KOM. This one's specifically a 2-person team KOM to the top. So pretty cool little mini game going on here. So.
I'm so happy, Nathan, that we get to have 100 riders out here with us, doubling the old number. Zwift is awesome. What's happening right now is it's just a really neat time to be involved, and the some of the things that they're doing are really helping save people's not only physical well-being but the mental health too. Community is strong and getting stronger by the day out there. So thanks to everybody, all our friends at Zwift, James Lalonde for helping make this happen. We sure appreciate you.
Yeah, looking through here. Now, real quick, I keep on hearing this Donnybrook thing, and I had no idea that this went back all the way to 1204 until the middle of 20th century with a fair that was notoriously disorderly. So the whole Donnybrook, a scene of uproar and disorder, a heated argument is where that's coming from. I was like, okay, I got to know what's going on here. And I was like, this has some serious history. And it comes from Church of St. Brock. Donnoch Brock is the meaning there from Irish. It's an Irish thing. Is what it sounds
absolutely.
Like.
Similar to, you hear Bedlam as well, right? Bedlam is a district in London where insane asylums would let people out onto the street.
Well, that's essentially what we're up to here. Is an insane asylum
much,
of pain.
right?
Anybody who does the cycling understands what am I doing to myself out here? I must be a little bit crazy. But Thurber here makes his way with some crazy 182 beats per minute as we watch somebody in the insane asylum that is this KOM at this point. And
listen, let's be honest. All of Watopia is an insane asylum in one way or another, and it's fantastic, right?
Absolutely.
You got to be a little bit crazy to be doing this, to hurt yourself like this. All right, Nathan, what a fun evening it has been. It's always fun. They used to say back when I was a kid, Thursday night TV. Now this is my Tuesday night fun, without any doubt. Again, thanks, Brian Trapp, and everyone at Vivid and Mia Dwella. You guys came up with a good thing as we're watching Croak now on the way. It's a good Irish last name, I would think, on the way to the finish line here.
I do believe we have Brian in Discord at this point. I'm just going to double check if Brian can hear me and if he's going to jump in. I just saw him cross the line. Brian Trapp, marketing over at Voler. Thanks for jumping in. It looked like you had a pretty hard climb coming over the top there with a 25-minute. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, that was pretty painful. Thanks to the Medwele and Vivid, Common and Stewart for letting us suffer again. That was brutal, but gosh, so much fun.
It's one of the most brutal efforts you could possibly have. That is for sure when it comes to any kind of Zwift effort. If when I do these for my repeat, I do these as repeats for my threshold efforts. And this is one of my most dreaded. This is one of those that you're thinking about when you wake up in the morning. I have to do this later. And you're like, you start getting race jitters, like nervous because it's going to hurt so bad.
That's right. Hey, you know what? I think I'm still watching part of the screen, but we've got some longtime supporters over on the East Coast. We got Jim Crook, and he's Croak, I think he is, coming up the hill, and Craig Lambert. Not to call the race, but just wanted to shout out to those two guys. I think both of them reside on Massachusetts and East Coast, and just really appreciate their support.
Yeah, we do see Croak here coming toward the top here, 3 seconds back here from Peterson from KS Kenda. So good to see the Kenda women out there as well, hammering away. Mountain bike team, I believe, if I'm not incorrect.
Absolutely.
And then Thurber from Fast Monkeys. So this just seems like the one that maybe hurt the most. Everybody sounds pretty. Everybody sounds like they're really. I mean, it's just enough time to really put you in that serious hurt locker. Where a TTT maybe not quite as. I mean, it's painful, but it isn't that driving for only 20 minutes everything you got. So. Pretty cool setup here with Voler. Now you guys got one more week, is it? I believe 1 more week with prizes.
That's one given away. That's right. Yep, that's exactly right. One more week. It's the Road to Sky. It's the Alp to Zwift. So it's a 3-person team. You can have it mixed or male and female. And so, yeah, that's next Tuesday night. And that'll be the last one for at least this springtime Tuesday night races.
Gotcha. Right
No.
on. Well, that's going to
That's
be a
heartbreaking.
long one. That's going to be a long climb to the top of the Alp to Zwift here. So maybe we'll jump in with a couple of pre-show. We'll get a little more pre-show going on next week, and we'll jump in with a few of the athletes, or a little bit more here, because I have a feeling next week we're looking at the best times that we'll see. I would think are going to be around 40 to 45 minutes, and then going all the way out to about an hour plus there for that. I mean, Alp to Zwift is no joke. Have you done Alp to Zwift before, Brian?
You know what? I have not.
You're in for a treat. You are in for a treat.
Yeah,
that is one of the hardest
I just
things.
don't want to jump off the call with saying once again thanks to Tibco and Voler Factory Gravel and Road Teams and Kenda. They have supported us each week enthusiastically, along with you two, Nathan and Dave. And so just can't end without thanking them, and obviously me Dwell and Vivid.
Yeah, of course, Brian. Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys and all the support and everything that Voler's put together over there. Now, if everybody hasn't seen, head on over to voler.com/Zwift. You can see the registration for next week. I believe they're going to, Brian, do you know if we're opening it up to 100 since we have 100 options now, or no?
You guys.
Should be with. Yeah, thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. I think we should be with us still, but Brian, are you there? I think you lost our audio.
You know what,
That's all
Nathan?
right.
I'm a yes man. I'm just going to say yes.
I'm a yes man too.
Your
I think
question.
we're gonna have 100. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna have 100 spots next week. I wouldn't be surprised if they close it down. So Ben Guist is saying this was fun. Thanks, Valet and Tibco SVB. I'm hearing over at chat as well. That is so creative. I love it coming from Carissa as well. So lots of good chatter coming on through. Appreciate everybody that's jumped into the stream here. Now tomorrow we got something brand new. Now we did 2 preseason, but this is now the official start tomorrow for the USA Cycling league that is going on. And if you're a USA Cycling member, you can sign up with them over on their website with that.
Yeah, I saw Alex Hahn just jumped in here, the Wildlife Generation rider. Maybe we'll get him to show up, see if he can pull a Riley Sheehan. This morning's race was as good as they get. That was some vintage racing. I look forward to more of that tomorrow. I'm really stoked, Nathan. Thanks for all you do. It has been a long day. You've been casting races around the globe. You're a machine, my friend. You really are. So, Nathan, thanks for a great job. You're really helping making this happen. I mean, you are making this happen, dude.
Appreciate that, Dave. Appreciate it. Always good to have you here as well. And thanks to all the viewers. You guys are awesome. Thanks to Madrele Voler as well as Vivid Cycling for putting us on, as well as all the pro teams and pro riders that jumped in with us. We'll see you tomorrow for the USA Cycling lead and Thursday for the WTRL Team Time Trial. As always, everybody, ride on.